So where is all the good food located around Metro Atlanta? In today's video, I'm gonna give you the top 5 best neighborhoods around Metro Atlanta for high quality cuisine. If you're a foodie, you're not gonna wanna miss this video. I'm also gonna provide a map for you with all of the Michelin rated restaurants and my personal favorite picks. So we usually talk more about real estate on this channel, but if you are planning to move here or visiting here for a quick trip, it's really important you know where all the good food is located so you can plan accordingly. And unfortunately with Atlanta, it is a mixed bag. There are some fantastic food options available, but there are also a plethora of very middle of the road, poor value restaurants if you're not careful. So let's look at the 5 neighborhoods where you have the highest concentration of high quality restaurants and great food. Number 5 on the list is Buckhead. Now for me, this is kind of ironic because Buckhead is not really a place that I enjoy spending a lot of free time, and it's not a place that I usually seek out nice restaurants. And the reason for that is there are just so many restaurants, so many expensive restaurants in Buckhead, that in my opinion, it is way easier to randomly find a restaurant you're going to be very disappointed with how much you spent and what you got than it is that you're going to be really happy walking away from it. And because there's so many restaurants, you're just as likely to walk away feeling really disappointed in the meal and the value you got than you are feeling really excited about what you just ate. So by all means, go to Buckhead for a fabulous meal, but make sure you do your research beforehand, because if you're just winging it and you go into a fancy looking restaurant, or even plan and get reservations ahead of time for a very high-end restaurant, there's a decent chance you could be very disappointed. Standout restaurants in Buckhead include Atlas, which recently received a Michelin star, and Storico Fresco, which has some of the best handmade pasta and Italian food in the city. And as I said, there's a large volume of restaurants from casual to fine dining in Buckhead. So just by virtue of the sheer amount of options you have in Buckhead, I still feel like it was deserving for this 5th spot on this list. Coming in at number 4, I have Midtown. And Midtown, like Buckhead, is an area with a lot of great restaurants, but also an area you have to be careful about which restaurant you choose. These are touristy areas. Midtown even more so than Buckhead. So you're going to get big corporate chains, and you're going to have a lot of high cost, low value options here. However, there are also some fantastic dining options here, and it seems to be increasing each year, all the great options that you have in Midtown. Standouts here include Lazy Betty, which also just received a Michelin star, Lila, which received a Bib Gourmand award from Michelin. Rumi's Kitchen in Midtown is serving up some very high quality Persian food that is well worth your time. And my personal favorite in Midtown is Xi'an Gourmet House, which in my opinion is serving up some of the best Asian noodles in the entire city. And Xi'an Gourmet House has another location at the Just Go food court in Duluth, which is literally one of my favorite restaurants in Metro Atlanta. At Xi'an Gourmet, you can get these delicious bang bang noodles, which are these wide, flat, deliciously chewy noodles. A lot of their food is very spicy, so beware if you're not into spicy food. They have lang pea cold skin noodle, dumplings, and the flavors at this restaurant are just incredibly fresh and interesting. There are other great restaurants in Midtown, of course, as well. This is one of the more dense areas in the entire metro, so you're gonna have a lot of options at your fingertips, which is another reason why it's on the list. But again, just be careful. You know, if you're in the mood for really being impressed, do a little research about where you're about to walk in, because there are a lot of tourist traps in the Midtown area. At number 3, I have Chamblee Doraville. Now, if you're like me, you're into different cuisines across the country. You like Latin American food, you like Asian cuisine, and if you're in the cheap eats, and what I mean is just good value, right? We're not talking about fine dining necessarily, then you are gonna wanna spend some time around Chamblee Doraville, specifically revolving around Buford Highway, which has an amazing reputation amongst Atlantans for being the place where you go when you want great food that's not going to break the bank. Now, Buford Highway stretches way out past Chamblee and Doraville, but the highest concentration of Latin American and Asian restaurants is going to be in the Chamblee-Doraville area, in addition to some fantastic markets. You've got H-Marts over here. You've got the Buford Highway Farmers Market, which is fantastic. So not only is this a fantastic place to go for an amazing cheap lunch, but if you're doing some cooking at home and you need some ingredients you wouldn't find at a typical grocery store, this is one of the best areas to go shopping. Some of my favorite restaurants in this area include Lanzhou Ramen, Yokohama Sushi, Northern China Eatery, and Good Harvest. And there are so many others. Literally, I've lived here for well over 15 years. I haven't really even scratched the surface of all the amazing restaurants along Buford Highway in the Chamblee Doraville area. So this is a place where you don't really have to research ahead of time. You can just show up and, walk in somewhere that looks interesting, and it's probably gonna be a win. But there's no doubt, if you're a foodie or you just appreciate, Latin American or Asian style food at a great value, whether you're planning to move here or just coming here for the weekend on a trip, you're gonna wanna check out Buford Highway in the Chamblee Doraville area. At number 2 on the list, I have West Midtown. Now, if you look in the description below, I've inserted a link to a Google map where I've placed all the Michelin recommended restaurants. I've pinned them for you. I've got the 1 stars, the Bib Gourmands, and the Michelin recommended. I also added a section with my personal recommendations for some of my favorite places around the city. When you pull up this map and you look at where these pins are concentrated, you'll see why West Midtown is number 2 on the list. Now, West Midtown's actually not an official neighborhood. This is a unofficial moniker that people have given it. Some people don't like that moniker. I've heard it referred to as the Upper West Side as well. But in terms of an actual neighborhood, Blandtown would probably be the most appropriate fit for this area. And if you're looking for fine dining, definitely the highest concentration of really good fine dining options can be found in West Midtown. There's Sushi Hayakawa, Mujo, Marcel, Miller Union, Bacchanalia, Fishmonger, and even Antico Pizza. And all the places I just mentioned are on the Michelin Guide in some capacity. So if you're thinking of moving in town, whether you're renting or buying, and you want to be in an area with a lot of high quality restaurants close by, this is probably going to be one of the areas that you want to look at. And there are a lot of great non-fine dining options in West Midtown as well. Even dive bars. Northside Tavern is on this side of town. There are definitely less corporate chains than you'd see in a Buckhead or Midtown. So overall, this is a fantastic district, not only for food, but for shopping. A lot of high-end retail, fun things to do at night. So especially for those of you visiting, West Midtown, if you're looking for a fun night in town, would be definitely one of the first places I target to make a plan for. All right, and number 1 on my list of the best neighborhoods for food in the Metro Atlanta area is Duluth. Now listen, this might get some pushback from locals. I don't even care. It's not a debate to me. It's not even, I won't even hear discussions for other options. In all of Metro Atlanta, Duluth is the number 1 spot for great food. Now the caveat being, if you don't like Asian food, it probably would not be number 1 on your list. There are good non-Asian options here as well, but I'm biased, okay? Asian is my favorite cuisine, from Sichuan to Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese. I love it all, and Duluth provides. Now, if you look at the map with the pins I provided in the description below, you might be confused because there's not a ton of pins in Duluth. That's because I haven't even scratched the surface here. I've got some of my favorites up, but if you drove through Duluth, you would get a sense for what I'm talking about. There are strip center after strip center of interesting looking restaurants, and consistently new restaurants popping up that I just have not had the time to visit. And the majority of these restaurants fly under the radar. Michelin didn't even go out here because it's a good bit outside of Atlanta. So unfortunately, you're not going to hear about a lot of these smaller, lesser known spots in Duluth because they're not getting a lot of coverage. Now, of course, I'll tell you my 2 favorite. First would be Masterpiece, which I think is the best Sichuan cuisine in Metro Atlanta. Absolutely love it and highly recommend it. Which is directly off Buford Highway, of course. It's just a little further up in Duluth, but I told you Buford Highway is the blood in our veins as far as high quality food goes. The other one would be Xi'an Gourmet, which I previously mentioned, which is at the Just Go food court, and that is worth a visit alone. One half of it is an amazing Asian forward food court that's fairly new, clean, has a lot of incredible options. From ramen to boba to hot pot, everything is there. The other side of Just Go is an amazing Asian focused supermarket, farmer's market, whatever you want to call it. They have all kinds of non-traditional stuff, incredible seafood selection, so many fun packaged goods, right, that you'll never see in normal stores. All the packaged goods like Lay's potato chips that are hot pot flavored, and just mochi and all the fun snacks that you could dream of are in this market. So it's a great place to go and spend a few hours in the supermarket and then go get lunch in the food court, buy some gifts to take home to your friends. There's a lot of fun stuff to do in this area, but Duluth has it all, and all you have to do is drive through Duluth and you'll know exactly what I mean. There's just so many restaurant options, and none of them are chains. Very, very, very few of them are chain restaurants. So I'm not saying they're all fantastic, but obviously when you get a mom and pop location, it tends to have a higher batting average. So we're not talking fine dining, right? If you're coming into Atlanta, you want to go to a Michelin, or you want to dress up nice and go to a fancy restaurant, it's going to be West Midtown, or it's going to be Buckhead, or one of the inner core neighborhoods. But if you're moving to the area and you're a foodie and you want to know where I would live if my world revolved around food, which it kind of does, it would definitely be Duluth and or Chamblee. These are the areas where there's just so many non-chain options at good value, which is really important to me. And also Duluth is awesome. I mean, if you're looking for a place to live, Duluth is one of my favorites for a suburb that's not difficult to get in the city. It's not a terrible commute. There's a really nice downtown in Duluth that continues to grow. I think the prices here are pretty good. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's next to Johns Creek and Alpharetta, so comparatively, there's some good value with the real estate here. I've always been a city boy, but if I were gonna live in any suburb of Metro Atlanta, it would definitely be Duluth, and yes, that's mainly because of the food. So there you have it, the 5 best neighborhoods around Metro Atlanta for great high quality food options. Of course, there are other areas around Metro Atlanta with great food as well. If I didn't mention it, it doesn't mean there isn't good food there, but it's not the best food city in the world, okay? And I've gotten blowback for that before. Oh no, it's an amazing food city, you just don't know where to go. I mean, in my travels comparatively to major American cities, I would not put Atlanta at the top of the list, but that does not mean there are not fantastic food options available. It's just a matter of how easy they are to find, the concentration of them, and the value that they're providing. So really hope that helped if you're looking for some good food around Atlanta for whatever reason, if you're factoring this into a home search or a rent search, or just a date night on a vacation. Tap on the link in the description to take a look at the maps that I created for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.